picked it up and towed it away. I knew what it was. I said, yeah, man, y'all was going to. I said, well, you got it, you keep it. It's right over there. It wasn't long ago. It was a nice one. One of the nicest ones. One of the ones we bought when we bought that van and all that stuff. Remember that white Volvo?
Right.
Yeah. I just told him, you keep it. They did all that modern stuff. You keep it. Shoot, that nicest Volvo station wagon I had. I drove it all over the country. It stopped. Did y'all ever go out when that Volvo stopped out on the highway?
Oh, near Cumberland?
Yeah.
Yeah, we came out there to
right.
get y'all.
And then I got to the station wagon. I got in that big old Lincoln and drove on. I just left it out there. Just left it out there. This is a nice car, brand new tires, everything. It ran like a top. It stopped, and it wouldn't start. Regular problem I've been having. I said, you keep it. I don't need it. The Lincoln, the cab, that Lincoln I had with the guerrilla, it drove perfect. We got to Kansas City, and it didn't want to. I just barely made it across the bridge there, overpass, into Kansas City, Kansas. I just stumbled around and I stumbled back to Kansas City, Missouri, and we got a hotel. We stayed there 2-3 days. I was going to California. We was going to Grand Canyon first. Car just wouldn't work. I sent my family home. It cost $680 on a train. I mean, you know, all of them, and it was right away, so it cost you.
Right.
So anyway, as soon as I sent them home, I made reservation on the airline to fly out to Southern California. This is one of these annual conferences to make a talk, which I did. I said, well, let me try this car one more time. I just went and got the car. Zoom, zoom, zoom. So instead of getting, I just drove it to the airport, parked, got on a plane, came back, got in the car, zoom, drove it right back here, drove it to Philadelphia, drove it everywhere. The car ran perfect. It ran perfect. Boy, but if you was in that boy, this wouldn't work. When I sent them home, I said, I was going to leave it there. I just went and said, let me see what this boy do. Started right up. I'm telling you, I drove it up to Philadelphia twice. I drove it back here, all the way back here. No problem. Okay, the point I'm making is, those are things that we developed as a safeguard against that foolishness. I got a couple of Volvos in California. Why? If any one of them do anything stupid, I just walk off and leave it. So what? It's a car. We got a movement. To us, that is little knickknacks in the battle. Right? That's little knickknacks in the battle. That's not the battle. I'm not concerned with that. That's after we use the cars to travel to do this, that, and the other. Suppose you got a lot of wagons in your, battle wagons in your caravan. You lose a few wagons? That's the way we look at it. You don't sit there, oh, the wagon is gone. No, it's gone. See you later. And I told people here, I said, if anybody want a car, they can go out and have that. All you got to do is take, I got all the stuff right here. Go out and get it, have it. That's with any of them. The car runs perfect. Okay. Strategic retreat. Base areas. One of the things about strategic retreat is to draw people into your arena. You draw them in. It's called draw 'em in deep. That's what it's called. Draw 'em in deep. America has been drawn in deep by us right here. A few Negroes. I mean, they're disabled. There's nothing they can do about it. They did it on their own. All of their legal, they're the ones that got all this stuff recorded on their own arrest records and everything, and you can't do that stuff. You just can't do it. Okay? That's no problem to win the case. If we don't win the case, we'll write about it. We'll say, this is what Boss Man has done, and this is, and we'll cite all the cases, we'll cite, and make fun of them. Land of the free, home of the brave. Is that right? We're not going to waste no time with them bums. You know, it wasn't arrogant in the court last time, but everybody in there knew, the police, the judge, they knew what was going on. I'm not going to waste any time with them. We got what we got to do. We've already drawn them in deep. They're in deep. It's called counter, encirclement, and suppression. They attack you, you defend. They attack you heavier, you retreat, right? Sometimes as you're retreating, you respond to them. Then their offenses become a defense. They're defending against you, right? Those are all common battlefield tactics, battle space tactics. We changed this psychological guerrilla warfare. Do you know how effective the Islamic Institute for Counter-Zionist American Psychological Warfare was? Unbelievable. We slapped the Zionists around. You notice you haven't heard nothing from them publicly for almost 10 years. But at one time, Abe Foxman, Daniel Pipes, what's the other guy? Steve Emerson. We were #1 on the hit list. They tried to take us out and make a fool out of us on the white man's program. Sean Hannity. If you would have went up with me on the train and come back, you would have saw a train full of white folks. The guy sitting next to me is asking questions. The Negro woman up there. They all know what's just happened, and they are all, if you knew the money they spent on me, you would ask yourself, just a minute. Why? What's so, okay, if you studied, you can see it. You can see 5% of it, 10% of it. You can't see, but I don't pay no attention to them, because it's psychological guerrilla warfare. Guerrilla warfare, a small group of people fighting a big group, right? So, it's a weak group fighting a strong group. The Chinese used to say 70, 80 years ago, 80 years ago, when they was fighting Japan, they said China is a big country that's weak, fighting a small country that's strong. Japan was strong, it was a tough guy. You know, they was tough guys, samurais. They was one generation from samurais. They still do that stuff. You know, they still sit up in the cold sometime and meditate. And if you see they practice, they police practices and all of that, they might as well have they got that samurai mentality. That's why Japanese still do hara-kiri. A big businessman mess up, he cut himself off today, right now. A kid can't get into school they want to get in Japan, commit suicide. Today, I'm telling you,
Dishonor.
I wouldn't want to mess with them myself. I just tell them when they come here. But I want to say this real quickly. Y'all have seen the German press here, the Japanese press, the Russian press. Why the hell are they all here? What are they doing here? Sometimes they would come and do the whole Juma. That was during the period when they was trying to trap a certain thing. It didn't work. It didn't work. Okay? A small group that's fighting a big one have to use all the leverage they can get. What do these arrogant people think? What makes them mad? Niggas making fun of them, right? Yeah, boss man bites the dust. All that. They turn red and they get mad. When they get that mad, they're not on their job as much. Islamic Institute for Counter-Zionist American Psychological Warfare. You know what we did? We'd have a little dinner over on, right where you are now. We had 2 little dinners. It was all dinner. We just had dinner and relaxed, right? Who would know? Was we having we put out a flyer and all that. It burned them up. In Oakland, we did the same thing. We'd have nice dinners on Sunday, and there would be 5 or 6 people come. The Zionists would write about it in their thing. Our website, I don't know how many people are looking at it now, but theirs have 300,000, 500,000. They put our flyers on their website. They made us, for that period of time, most popular crew, and they wrote articles about the Masjid and the surrounding area, what we're trying to do. They put all that in their paper. That's psychological guerrilla warfare. They didn't think niggas had enough sense to do that. All we do, know your enemy, know yourself. 1,000 battles, 1,000 victories. What are white people and Zionists? They're arrogant. They're arrogant. We tell everybody what to do. What is the police? Arrogant. Gun, and they shoot the nigga down. That's anytime they want. Right? Anytime they want, they can do that. That's arrogance and meanness, too. What human being would want to kill another human being? Or even, what society would be so backwards that they teach people to kill other people, like armies and police? This is 2020, 2020. We should evolve to where we teach people to help people, not kill each other. Who would be so stupid that they couldn't negotiate peace and tranquility? You have to be stupid. You have to be socially inept, right? You have to be psychologically depraved to live like they live now. To do what they do now, according to their own sociology, everything we do is insane. The psychologists, the sociologists, right? They all say what we're saying. That no, modern society, if you do this kind of thing, you're crazy. Well, suppose you join a police department to kill Negroes. You are abnormal and you're crazy. They've made insanity normal. They made insanity normal. But we didn't beat them. Technically, I told a brother called me from Canada, don't worry about Oakland, don't worry about none of that. Why not? Shouldn't he worry about it? Because we don't worry about it. We think about it a little bit. It's a part of, it's like you have to clean up the masjid for Juma. That's all it is. That's all that is something that you do. But remember, we're going for a real ride now. Okay, let me speed up. and actually get to what I was going to say here. It's only 5-10 pages. But, okay. Martyrdom, they martyred the people who defeated Daesh because they were mad and jealous of them. This is what we call a super backfire. Why is that? The blood of the martyr. Did you find something on Cowpens?
Yeah.
Could you just briefly...
Well, it says the Battle of Cowpens was an engagement during the American Revolutionary War.
Right.
Just happened to happen this month, January 17th, 1781,
Right.
between American colonial forces under Brigadier General Daniel Morgan
Right.
and British forces under Lieutenant Colonel Senior Bannister Tarleton.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it was a campaign in North and South Carolina.
Right.
It was the turning point
Right.
in the American reconquest of South Carolina from the British.
Right.
What was interesting, the tactic, Morgan's forces conducted a double envelopment. That's what they called it, of Tarleton's forces. The only double envelopment of the war.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He drew them in.
Right.
Enveloped, they call it. Break out and run. Bam, hit them again. I believe it was 4 times the double envelopment. It had to be, I believe they repeated it. Well, hell, one double envelopment is enough. I mean, but I think
It didn't go into what
it didn't go into the series.
It didn't go into that.
It didn't go into that, right? But that was a tactic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, believe it or not, Douglas MacArthur, their greatest general, he had a thing called hit 'em where they ain't. I don't know if y'all ever heard of that. Hit 'em where they ain't. They were losing a lot of troops right in Australia and down that area. So he looked at all that, he said, man, this ain't the way we ought to be doing this. So he said, we'll go around them and capture places where there's nobody, and then we'll do it, and then we'll go up to the coast, and we'll cut all those people off there. We'll cut off their food and their other stuff in New Guinea or whatever it is up there, right? That's what they did. So, and he didn't hardly lose nobody after that. So hit them where they ain't. Here's what I'm trying to say, is some people, even Negroes, have been gifted with historical memory and application also. That's why I said, and this is the last time I'm going to talk about myself, but I have to do it now because we have to understand, first of all, nobody believes that a Negro, they don't believe it. That makes, the first years of this is what made it easy because the white man didn't believe it. I would have to stop and come around. I said, boss man, you know what I just did to you? That's what I said in Cookby after time. Boss man, I just slapped you upside the head. I just did this, I just did that. Because they wouldn't even know. You would have beat them, and they wouldn't know because they don't believe up until recently. They believe it now. I wouldn't have all this 24/7, super duper 24/7 unless, right, it was true. The point I'm making is, this if a person's been born, some people can play sports real well, they can do a lot of things. It's a gift that they have. Now, if they develop that gift, have you ever seen guys that lift weights? And some, I mean, they just do a few exercises in iron, and they neck develop, they have stroke. You say, man, this guy's doing a lot for his neck. He ain't doing nothing for his neck. That's just the way they built. They have six-pack, you know what I mean? You have some people could do 50 million sit-ups per day, and they can't get a six-pack. They just get a big belly. You know what I mean? There are people like that. I learned when lifting weights and stuff, they have different types of bodies. Some have a weightlifter's body, like deadlifts, bench presses, squats and stuff like that. They have powerlifting bodies. They can do, I knew guys in a joint, they did every super duper exercise to get a bodybuilding body look. They couldn't do it. They were in better shape, they could twist you up like a piece of paper and throw you out. That's how strong they were, but they just couldn't get that. Then some guys would come in the gym, they work out 45 minutes, 3 days a week, and they muscles, they got a six-pack, it's all fit, they got wings, hey man, they got traps, and I look at their work, I said, homeboy, you don't do nothing. Where did you get all of that? I mean, I'm just joking, but I be saying, man, you really gifted, because it looks like you do everything in the book, and you don't do but 3 things, and you look like you do all of it. Okay, in military stuff, I'll just tell you, all of my life I've been good at history. If you think I'm lying, ask me some historical question about U.S. history. Anything, don't make. But not only I know it, but I understand it. Not only I know it, but I understand it. With the movement, I'm here out of Salarsville. That's the first thing you got to get in your mind and know it. But you get sophisticated in strategic thinking. Like we tell you about one of our Imam friends that's been in jail for a long time. The stuff they did to him was childish. It was nothing. Suppose I responded to the police. What did they do? They just harassed him. It's reported that he said that if they do it again, I'm gonna da-da-da-da-da. If the police know that you like that, that's what they're gonna do. They don't care whether they win with a 100-pound